After the pandemic, I think it brought mental health to the forefront.
I myself was probably ready to walk out of the building after COVID, just because my own level of just recovering from what we went through, but then also seeing how hard these kids struggled.
It's become very important to keep in mind the students' lives outside of our classrooms. That's become a big focus here.
And at the high school level, we've seen a drastic increase from our students and our staff, the adults who have mental health needs that need to be addressed on almost a daily, weekly, monthly basis.
I think one thing that I've loved to see grow is that now a lot of principals are so comfortable and confident themselves with conducting some of these initial assessments that they'll just kind of call and check in with me. And so in the past, it was me actually having to go there and be there kind of with them. And so we've, I think, created enough training and enough support for our administrators to know that they can kind of do some of these initial assessments themselves, and then we just have a good resource where they can just call if they need to. So it's been really awesome to see.
I've seen tremendous growth in the resources we have available, but just the adaptability of our kids. They're recovering and they're doing better. They know that they have help if they need it, and I think that's just knowing that helps a lot of kids. They don't even have to get it, but knowing that things are there for them.
Of course, the best thing was our universal screener that we used.
It's one of those tools that it's so simple and easy for everyone. It's not a time-consuming tool, but the great effects that it has.
I think it's the first time that I've known in our school district that every single student is seen in a social emotional kind of perspective.
Trying to get everybody on the same page, using the same procedures, and what we're attempting to do is look at each scenario differently as an individual case instead of having a blanket response or a blanket answer for each situation.
We are slowly realizing that, students that we would naturally refer to, counselors or whoever are mainly your kids who are always getting in trouble, right? Your loud ones is who we see, but the screener allows us to evaluate kids to not just say, oh, well, that person, she's just quiet.
But then it's just those few extra that we're catching that we may not have caught before.
Just this year we did a threat assessment, and a student who made a threat actually was having mental health concerns that wouldn't have been addressed in the past. We just would have removed that student from the building and put them in our alternative placement, but this student got the mental health concerns addressed and the help that they needed.
Well, we want all students to know that's a safe environment. That's the first thing I want them to know. I feel like a lot of kids maybe don't have a safe environment at home.
Like, they shouldn't be punished for having human emotions and things that we deal with as adults. They're dealing with that as students too. So with the grace that we want in our lives, we also need to be willing to extend to them.
Yeah, we've tried to come up with more of like an inclusive approach and find ways that all of our students can become involved. An example of that would be at our basketball games. We're kind of known in the area that we have a student section. A large population of our students come to the ball games, but they've incorporated what we call a buddy night, where some of our FMD or special needs students get to partner up with one of our regular ed students, and they get to come and cheer on the basketball team.
We want to have a club where kids are able to learn about like mental health stuff and kind of like destigmatize the, kind of like the stress, anxiety, like talking about mental health in a public setting like that.
We've started a Tomorrow Club, which is for the teen mental health and resilience, and that's a place where they can kind of all come together and discuss issues that they're having, but maybe issues that are going on in the school. They've actually come to me with suggestions and ideas on ways to improve communication or things that we could do to help them in their mental health.
So we partnered with hospice, and we did a grief day camp where kids were allowed to come and who had recently lost someone, and we just had activities all throughout the day for them. Just like being in a group with other kids that like have gone through a similar experience, we thought like would help them and stuff, and we got positive feedback, so it showed that it kind of worked.
So 3 years ago, we actually started offering kind of a family mental wellness night, and what we wanted to do was just really promote positive family engagement. What we realized is that if we can get families involved, and our school's already involved, and we have all of these people surrounding the student involved in trying to help just promote a positive environment, then the student's going to be able to grow more.
We have our Ohio County Hospital. From our community, we had some people that were offering free haircuts to the students that came, and we also had our photography club from the high school came and offered a family photo.
You know, there was a mom who came up and, you know, she just thanked us because they hadn't had a true family photo and for so long. We have SROs at all of our schools. There's floating ones that go to our elementary, and then there's one that pretty much is constantly here at the middle school and the high school. A lot of students, sometimes from their families or just from their own beliefs, kind of can view law enforcement in a negative way. So we really want to turn that into more of a positive relationship. And so here at the middle school, our SRO here even brings her police dog, Jet, and Jet just interacts with the students and kind of is that comfort, and she'll bounce between schools and Jet gets to go with her. At the high school, our SRO even gets to be a part of our safety team meetings, and there will be times that we will link students up with him to form those relationships, so it's not necessarily just a guidance counselor or an administrator, so he even has students that he regularly checks on. And anytime you're at any of our schools, you will always see our SROs just constantly walking the halls. Obviously for safety reasons, of course, but also just to constantly talk to students, and they love seeing them. And so here we've just been able to kind of add even more of a kind of a therapeutic animal dog aspect to it, and so it's been really awesome for our students. A majority of our elementary schools have a calming space somewhere.
We've created a little office space. We call it our comfort room. There's a comfy chair. We have a lava lamp, the wonderful fish tank that everybody loves in our building. I have one in my office now.
And it's just a space for students if they need to take a moment to calm down, get their heads straight, or just whatever they need, and they can go into that room, calm down.
There's actually, if you go in there, there's been a puzzle that's done, and if I have somebody that needs, I'll break it up a little bit and then they can redo the puzzle, so it just stays on the table. You know, not everybody wants to talk to me, but they're upset, they're crying, or they just need a break from whatever situation they're in, and so they can sit, take a little break, refocus, and then get back to class.
I think the calming spaces has been something that we've probably before didn't realize how much they were needed, and now that we have them, are utilized to a great kind of capacity.
And then we've tried to focus on our staff as well. You know, our staff, they have mental health needs that kind of have come out as well, and we've tried to make them a priority and tried to do little incentive things to try to let them know, hey, we get it, we're here for you. We give them time. We've created a space, a cool down room for staff and for students, kind of like the old, I guess, teacher's lounge lot. You know, that's their space, a place for them to go and relax and debrief.
Our administrators are wonderful, but like, hey, take a break. You know, when it's an overwhelming position that I'm in, and we're really good about getting on the radio and going, hey, who needs to tag out? So I think we have a great administrative staff that looks out for us. As I've said before earlier, Miss Calloway, when she's there, sometimes we'll just pull her to the side and, okay, now I need to vent. And she's there as a listening ear for us. So it's been very nice to have.
We've made it a lot more intentional and tried to be proactive. Well, I think prior to the pandemic, we were very reactive. And now we're trying to be more proactive with mental health.
We need them to trust us that we have their best interests in mind collectively, not just their grade in our classroom and their homework that they turn in. We really have to be more aware of and respectful of what they go through outside of the building, and that plays into their ability to learn. And so if we're not mindful and caring about those situations, then that puts up a wall, a defense wall, where they won't want to engage at all.
The awareness, being more intentional about seeing those things and looking for ways to help kids.
What I've loved is hearing that just conversations are finally happening. In the past, we always viewed mental health as that's an at-home issue. You know, we don't talk about that here at school. We just deal with academics here. But I think what I've loved so much about Ohio County is the fact that we are now recognizing that if a child's social emotional needs aren't met, then they're not going to be able to excel academically. So if we want to do ourselves, you know, justice academic-wise, we also have to meet their social emotional needs.